Cassava farming has emerged as a thriving agribusiness, drawing attention from farmers and investors alike due to its numerous benefits. This versatile tuber crop is not only a staple food for millions worldwide, but also serves as an essential ingredient in various industrial applications. Cassava's resilience to harsh environmental conditions and low input costs makes it an attractive option for small-scale farmers in developing regions. With growing demand for cassava-based products like starch, flour, and ethanol, cultivating this crop presents a profitable opportunity. Additionally, cassava's potential for value addition through processing ensures a sustainable and rewarding venture for farmers, paving the way for economic growth and food security.
Hello everyone, my name is Kendi Ogbubiyi. I like to be called Kenny, and I'm the founder of Kenny Royal Farms. So interestingly, I went into farming during COVID. That was about 3 years ago. I was working in an oil and gas servicing company, and COVID happened to us. So I thought about a product that was high in demand, and I felt cassava was very flexible. So I keyed into it, and that's it. The first thing we look at is the weather, and the second is the soil. So for the soil, for the weather, you have to look for an area where there won't be cases of flooding. For the soil, you have to look for where you have something like the loamy soil, you have the clay soil, you have the sandy soil. At that point, you have to initiate the irrigation method, where you have lands that are not so good for cultivation. You can always use the irrigation method. So the first thing you look at is the soil. You look at the weather in case of flooding, and then the good land preparation. So taking you through how I started mine. So I went back to my hometown, that's Ogun State, Ilaro, and then beside my house, my father has got this plot of land that we would just do the normal little planting of vegetables, a bit of cassavas. So I spoke to my dad about it. We got a land within, and then we started. All we had to do was employ the locals, and then of course the land, we had to look at the land, because for the land you have to get either the loamy, the sandy, or the clay soil. So we had to look at that. We had to get experts to take us through, and then for the land preparation we had to use the irrigation method, and then and that was how we started. So the major ones are the whiteflies, the grasshopper, we have the mealybug. Those are the major ones that I experience. So what I do to control them, I try as much as possible to plant early, and at times we use the chemical pest control. There are ways you determine if they are ripe for harvest. First, you have to look at the leaf. When they start to turn yellow, then you know that, okay, it's time for harvest. Then we get workers. They pull from they uproot from the ground, and then when they do a lot of that, we dry in the sun. At times we wash off the sand, and then we dry for about 4 hours or less. Then we can start to peel. We have another section where they start to process. So the first thing is to peel with a sharp knife, and then we start our processing. In the next coming years, I see Kenny Royal Farms in other African countries, do more of exports. I see us in, presently we're working on a village market in Lagos, just one location now, but I see us spreading all around Lagos and other states. So in the next 5 years, I see us doing big things.
My name is Akishola Kikumi. I'm an agriculturist and plant or sustainable agriculture enthusiast. Cassava is one of the most important staple products that we have in our country, in Nigeria, even in Africa at large. We operate a system whereby we feed on energy the most, we feed on carbohydrate the most. So nutrition is mostly starch-based, carbohydrate-based. So that alone makes cassava one of the most important staple product that we have. But outside gari or fufu or amala that you get from cassava as a byproduct, there are even more sophisticated stuff that can be fashioned out of cassava. Breweries depend on cassava. All these beverages that you drink use cassava as their sweetener. People that make adhesives use cassava. People that make starch, there are some products that you use like paper that require a bit of starch to hold them together, a bit of, things like that. And again, byproduct of cassava are fed to the animals, so they are used as animal feed. The cover, the peel is used like locally to feed animals, pigs, goats, and stuff like that. So it's just, the use is enormous, way beyond the regular gari, fufu, and eba. There are many diseases that you have in crop production, and cassava is not an exemption. There are diseases that affect cassava. You cannot do without it. Diseases or pests, for example, they are not just living organisms. Just like you have your cassava that is a cassava plant that is a living organism. When you have vectors like mealybugs, you have vectors like whiteflies. These are disease-causing agents. They are vectors. They carry diseases that affect cassava. So naturally, they are attracted to cassava. So when you have diseases like this that carry cassava, mosaic disease that can cause things like viral disease for cassava. So one of the things that I would say that a way of controlling a situation like that is proper monitoring and proper observation of your farm. You have to be observant, just like in any other crop, even in animal product. When you are observant enough, you are able to see when there's changes in the color of the leaf of your cassava. You can easily detect the growth rate. Maybe you saw the way it was last week, you came back this week, it's still the same way. You can easily detect that it's not growing well. And when that kind of thing happens, you check it out, you see that maybe there's some kind of irregularity with the leaf, the growth of the leaf, the growth of the stem. And I think the simple advice would be to remove that kind of stand. You have thousands of stands on your farm, so it's always better to remove that kind of stand from the plant community, like to take it far away from there to prevent it from spreading. So when you have your field that you have it being weeded regularly, there's a way they will help you in many ways in preventing pests from pest invasion, from preventing pests that can cause disease for your cassava field. Getting to know when is the right time to harvest your cassava comes in many ways. For example, there are latest technologies now. We have the latest breeds, like new breeds, new variety. I would call it variety. New varieties of cassava that you plant that will within 6 months they are ready to be harvested. There are some that we used to have in the past that 9 months, 1 year, they can stay 1 year on the field, they can stay more than that on the field, and there are some that within 6 months they are ready for harvest. So I think one of the number one thing would be for you to know what variety you are using. You have an overview, an idea what variety you are planting, and once you have that, you will definitely know when the kind of variety is to be harvested. Like a particular variety is to be harvested if it's 6 months, if it's 9 months. Another way you can know is after like 6 months, you can start checking. Just uproot one stand and check the root to check how well it is, how well the cassava is forming. And when you check and you are satisfied, if the ball came, that's it. If the formation of tuber, if that tuber formation is satisfactory enough, then you can easily just get ready to harvest.